But
You've talked about the fight before. I'm sure you don't want to get into every
I,
detail, but is it safe that Chad was just that night's victim and he handled it wrong?
and some things I found out after the fact I didn't know, but Chad had already had heat with Bradshaw, with
Oh,
JBL.
okay.
Yeah, he already had heat with JBL. Um,
From what?
he and not just Chad being Chad, and actually not doing anything that I'll even admit, like, it wasn't anything that I feel like should have gotten heat over. But like before he's ever signed by anybody or he was always show up to shows as a local guy, and I guess he met Bradshaw and his wife, and he just said, "Hey, Mr. Bradshaw, nice to meet you." And his wife was there, and from what I understand, all he said was, well, said, "Oh, nice to meet you," to his wife, and he said, "You're absolutely beautiful." Just like giving her a compliment. You know what I mean? But Bradshaw, I guess, being
Yeah.
Bradshaw, and Bradshaw, by the way, is another guy that a lot of people didn't like, but I never had a problem with him. So, um, so yeah, but yeah, little did I know that before Chad was even signed, he had heat, and then so he got signed, and then all of a sudden I didn't know I had heat,
Right.
you know. So I had heat by association before I even got my foot up there. But so then once we got up there, we started getting just hazed. And which for me, I was expecting it anyway. You hear
Right.
stories all the time, and I had no problem with it. I've been on sports teams before and been the new guy and things, and realize that that's just the initiation, and you just go along with it. So I always went along with it. I mean, shoot, one time I went out to the ring and did my match and came back, and my gear bag was gone, and I was looking around for it, and I hear the shower running, and my bag's under the shower, just getting filled up with water. Zipped it up with the water in it, boiled it back out, watched the rest of the show on the monitor, pretended like it never happened. And I was wheeling it back out to the car. It's just a trail of water coming out, and didn't say a word. Didn't put it
Right.
over. Then next time, they was out match came back. My biz cash clothes were not in my bag, and I'm looking around. They taped it up high up on the wall, so I couldn't. So I had to jump up and get, which is funny. And
Yeah, it's harmless.
yeah, and so that was that. And I just put the clothes back on, watched the show, got back, and right after that, I remember Benoit pulled me outside, like the next show, and he pulled me outside. He goes, "Hey man, I just want to let you know, like, I know we've been busting your balls, but man, you've taken it like a champ. You don't say a word. You're cool, man. We just want to let you know you're cool with us, man. All good, man. You're good. You're one of the boys. You're one of the boys now." I was like, I appreciate that, thank you. And he's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "But do me a favor, talk to your partner. Talk to your partner. The boys do not like him. The boys do not like him, and he is got to chill out and just relax." Because he would be like, come on, guys, yeah, like,
Right.
and get upset about things, and so yeah, so that's pretty much it. So I mean, it was just kind of like him just getting heat and more heat and more heat, and like it all boiled up to the point where we are at. We got brought into wrestlers' court and over a whole thing. Like, he showed a video of himself dancing with another male dancer that he's trying to learn dance moves from for a gimmick, and I told him not to do that. I said,
That's
"Don't
all.
show."
Oh, that's
Oh my
wow.
god!
That's
Yeah,
all they need to hear.
yeah. So and he showed it to me before we even got on the plane, and I said, Chad, put your camcorder away. Don't let, I said, don't let anyone see that. I said, don't let anyone see that. And I
You
was just
walk
like,
in, he's got a projector in the locker room.
yeah, no. So of course, doesn't listen to me. And the next thing I know, I hear guys laughing, and I see them handing around a camcorder.
Oh man.
And next thing you know, it's getting passed around to guy to guy to guy of Chad dancing with this guy, and next thing you know, you see Undertaker holding it, and he's looking at it, and he just goes, and that was it. And then that night we got called in the wrestlers' court, and that's where they're like, and they brought us in. They said, He said, Tank. And by the way, when they called me in, Chad was already there at a big round table. There's only one seat next to the Undertaker for me. And I said, "May I sit down?" He's like, "Yeah, go ahead." I said, "Can I have a beer?" He's like, "Yeah, here, go ahead." And I said, "Thank you." And because I wanted to, because I wasn't even like trying to drink, but I know if I said no, I'm good, they would make you drink the
He,
shit out of it, right?
yep.
So I want to make it like, all right, I'm in on this. So I was drinking the beer, and the first thing they asked me is, "All right, Tank, so if your tag team partner wants to get better at wrestling for your gimmick, because your gimmicks are male dancers, why didn't you go and practice with him with that guy?" And I was just like, oh my God, Chad just threw me under the bus. I'm looking like an asshole for not, getting into the program and making us as good as possible with our gimmick. And but I just straight up said how I felt. I was like, honestly, it felt really weird and kind of gay. And I said, and they everyone stops, and then they go, "You're goddamn right, Chad. Admit it. You're a faggot." And I was like, "Ooh," I
You're
was like,
saying that with a well, you're saying that with a Texas accent. I assume that was JBL.
"Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You admit you're a faggot, right? Exactly. However
Okay.
he'd say it, but yeah,
Yeah.
exactly right. Yeah." And I was like, "Oh my
Who else
gosh."
is in the room?
Who else is in the room? You had Animal, Chris Benoit, Orlando Jordan. You had gosh, who else was in that room? God, there was guys in that room. Hold on, I gotta remember who it was. There was a lot of guys, a lot of big guys. Just trying to remember off the top of my head. But who else was in that room? I can't remember. I'm sure something will come
All
to me as
right.
I go. But obviously JBL, a couple other guys. But bottom line is, they're on him now, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I went feeling like I was getting thrown under the bus. To all of a sudden they attacked him,
All right.
and I was just like, look, I was like, I don't care. I don't care if he's gay. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. You be whatever you want, but it wasn't for me, you know?
Right.
And he's like, I'm not gay. I'm not gay. I'm not gay. And, and people were already questioning, like, because he seems a little weird sometimes with certain things. But anyway, and Orlando George is like, hey, if anyone knows gay, I know gay and you're gay, you know? I was like, okay. And it was just funny. But yeah, so they just got on him and he starts crying and they're like,
Ryan.
yeah, oh yeah, like literally crying. And then
Ah,
they're just like, yeah, it was a whole thing, man. And they tried to get him to fight me, and it was a whole big thing where, he tried to pretend to fight me, but they called him out on it because they caught him winking, like, trust me.
ah.
And then it was a whole thing. Yeah, so and then next thing I go to the bathroom and then he comes rushing in after me because I was like, it's late now. And I'm like, guys, mind if I go to the bathroom? Yeah, go ahead. I go in, I'm going to the bathroom. As I'm coming in, going out, he's coming in. He's like, Tank, please let me hit you one time. I'm like, what? I'm like, no, no, get out of here. I'm like, so I go out and I'm standing by the elevators, hoping that it could be the end of the night. And sure enough, he comes running out. Oh, they went in too. They went into the bathroom like right after him. And he comes running out though. He's like, please, please, please. And he literally got on his hands and knees, or on his knees, and it was like this, begging me, please let me hit you one time. Let me hit. I said, you got to be crazy. I said, you've got to be crazy because if I let you hit me, then all of a sudden I become the punk ass bitch,
Yeah.
and then I'm under the bus. I was like, I'm not doing that. I was like, Chad, you just got to like let it go, let it go, just take it and let it go. And I'm like, meanwhile, I'm like, where the hell are these guys? Because now, sure enough, when he ran out, he locked them in. He locked them in the bathroom. Yeah. Yeah, he locked him in the bathroom. Crazy. Like, so here he was, and and the way Undertaker explained it was like they try to get out of the bathroom and he goes to open the door and he's like, looks back at the guy, he's like, little bastard locked us in. And it was great. And the only guy that wasn't in the bathroom and was able to let him out was Orlando Jordan. And so, sure enough, Orlando Jordan unlocked the door and they came out and they saw Chad on his knees begging me. And then that was it. That was it. That was the end of the night. And the end of the night, so we all got on the elevator. We're all heading to our floors. And as we're in there, they're literally ping pong, like pinballing them around, like, shoving them around, elbowing them and stuff. And I was like, Jesus. I was like, I just want this to be over. And, uh, and so they're all getting off their floors and Chad gets off on his floor. And I felt like he's probably in a really bad place, like
Right.
emotionally and mentally. And I actually followed him back to his room to make sure he's okay. And I stayed there for a while, just calmed him down because he was like just uncontrollably crying. And he's like, I don't understand. I'm like, dude, you gotta like just let it go, man. It's like, don't let anything they do phase you. Like, just no sell stuff,
Right.
because, if you keep doing it, they're gonna keep seeing they're getting a rise out of you,
Right. Right.
just be the dog that doesn't react to getting poked by the stick. And he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was like, just, man, just please, just listen to me. I will not steer you in the wrong direction. And sure enough, he did not listen. And the next day it was more of the same. And we got called back for wrestlers court again. And this is in Mexico City. And now we're in the big private catering area, and everybody's there. And I get called down, and Chris Benoit came up to get me, and we go down, and it's just everybody's there. I mean, we're talking even like the crew, and like all the
Wow.
workers, and like there's piles of money on tables, and I've come to find out that everybody was betting who would win the fight, how long would the fight last, all this kind of stuff. So everyone was throwing money on the tables, and there's one seat once again next to the Undertaker, and there I had to sit down. I had a seat taken. I said, "Can I sit there?" Yeah, sure, no problem. Can I have a beer? Yeah, here. Same thing. But this time it was like they're trying to get him to fight me right away. And I'm sitting down and I'm just like sitting back on two legs of a chair, right? Like just leaning back. I'm like, and he's doing his thing. He's yelling down at me. I'm like, Chad, sit down. I don't want to fight you. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to, just stop, stop. I said, stop. At this point, I'm like, don't give in to these guys. I was like, they're messing with you. I even said it. But at this point, I didn't care. Like, I was just like,
Right.
stop, man. I was like, just relax. And then I'm like taking a sip of beer. I'm back two legs of a chair, and Undertaker goes to say something to me, and while he says it, Chad just wham hits me, and
Wow.
I go back off the legs of I fall back off the chair. Next thing you know, my beer flies off, and he's got me in a front face lock, and I go, damn it, Chad. I said, now I got to hit you. And so
Right.
now, I get up and I break out of his front face lock. And just real quick, just real quick, but I just smacked him across the face. I said, now knock it off. I said, I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to lose my job because of you. I said, knock it the hell off. And then like, as quick as I said that, I sat down. I said, I'm sorry. What were you saying to Undertaker? And everybody like just lost it. That I mean, everybody was laughing. They're like, "Oh my God!" They're like, "He just hit you in the face, and you got up and smacked him like a bitch and sat back down like nothing happened." Ah, ha, ha. And JBL's like, "Oh, I gotta tell you, I got a toe show on that tank. That's hilarious." And I'm like, oh man, I just don't want to do this. And I'm like, Chad knocked the beer out of my hand, and Undertaker's like, "Here, take mine." And I'm like, all right, Mr. Taker. So I'm going to toast JBL because he has a beer out, and I was go to do that. I see out of the corner of my eye, I see Chad cocking back again,
Ah.
and I go like this, and I go, whoa. I'm like, whoa, and he's like, oh, he goes, psych,
Oh
and
my
I'm like,
gosh.
psych, and everyone's like, psych, you were gonna cheap shot him again, and I was like, all right, just let it go, let it go. He's just dumb, and dumb enough that when I went to toast him, I guess I'm dumb because he hit me again. He hit me
Really?
again. Yeah, he hit me again, second
Ah.
time. And now this time I stuttered back. I put the beer on the table. I said, now I got to kick your ass. And he's doing his best Ric Flair beg off. And I'm like, no, hell no. And I just want wop, wop, wop. And I just knocked him, like bust his nose open, black eye, and then bust his teeth through his front lip. And it actually through his lip to the point where it cut my finger wide open, tore my tendon on my pinky.
Oh man.
And they had to actually, and he was out cold, and they just like they pick him up. He's got blood all over his shirt, and they're like, and this is in a nice hotel, right? And they're like, it's like Jamie Noble and Matt Hardy pick him up, and they're like, get his ass out of here, get him back to his room. We don't want to see him. And then they're like, and then they came over to me like in a circle, and they're like, and they gave me all the money that was on their table, and they're like, here, take this, take this. You're one of the boys now. You're cool, man. You're cool with us. You're cool. And Undertaker's like, yeah, you're one of the boys now. You're a good boy. And I was like, obviously not good enough. But I'm like, yeah. And then meanwhile, I look down, my hands just gushing blood. And Dr. Rios, who's the main doctor at the time, he's like, oh yeah, I had a prop feeling something like this would happen. And he's like, all right, let me take a look at it. He goes, oh, yep, you ruptured your tendon. He goes, hey, who wants to see me repair a tendon and sew him up? And everyone's like, I do. And so right there, he stitched me up. And yeah, I almost lost my finger like 2 weeks later though, because it was so infected.